Дальше действовать будем мы. Дальше действовать будем мы.
Добрый день, ladies and gentlemen. Сегодня великий интерпренер всех времен и народов Ричард Брэнсон.
Ричард Брэнсон – британский предприниматель, родился в 1950 году. В 1972 году основал звукозаписывающую компанию Virgin Records. В 1984 году создал авиакомпанию Virgin Atlantic. Теперь под брендом Virgin работают сотни компаний в самых разных отраслях экономики.
На его собственном острове Necker мы снимаем. And now we switch to English. First of all, sorry. English is our second language, as you know, so...
Good. I'm very glad. Russian was my second language.
If you don't understand some of the questions, you can ask them. And again, we are at beautiful Necker Island here with Rичард Брэнсон, who is the greatest, or one of the greatest entrepreneur ever. And we've got millions of requests from all of you asking me to interview Richard for this program, and finally we are with Oleg here and we are ready. We're a bit nervous, but I hope everything will be okay. And my first question would be, Richard, how is being entrepreneur? How is to be being entrepreneur? How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, I've been very lucky. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 15 years old. And I love creating things. You know, I love making a difference to people's lives. I love shaking up the big corporations. And I've had, you know, an absolute blast, you know, doing it, you know, ever since I was 15 years old. So you know, so I think, you know, being an entrepreneur is very important for society. I mean, society needs, you know, thousands of entrepreneurs, because that's where the jobs get created, and that's where things get improved from, you know, for people throughout society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. And then I have another personal question to you, because it's very interesting for me, and I would like to have the same. How you afford always to be so in positive mood? What is your secret to be positive and be so smilish? How can we achieve that?
Well, first of all, obviously,
because I'm here 1 week with Richard, and Oleg can confirm, Richard has been smiling throughout the day, throughout the night, and I just don't know where he gets so much energy and so much optimism about the life.
No, I mean, I do think, you know, that whatever job you're doing in life, you know, if you're a switchboard operator, if you're cleaning the floors of a building, you know, if you're, you know, I don't know, collecting eggs for an incubator, or, you know, whatever it is, if you're positive about the job you're doing, you're going to be a much happier person, and the people around you are going to be a lot happier, and it's likely that, you know, that you won't forever be a cleaning lady, or you know, because you're smiling, because you're happy, people will, you know, promote you, and you'll go on and do great things in life. So I think a positive attitude is essential in life, whatever your position. Obviously, you know, I have a lot to smile about. You know, I have a happy family. I've got great kids. I've got you know, great companies, great people who work for our companies. You know, we like, you know, we're proud of what we've created. So plenty to smile about. But I hope that even if I was back in the struggling days, you know, that I would be positive.
Mm-hmm. Talking about your companies, how many companies right now under the Virgin brand?
Well, we have about 350 Virgin companies. We're an unusual brand. Most brands specialize in one area. Virgin is more a way of life brand. So, you know, we'll look after you, you know, when you're born. We'll look after you when you're a teenager. You know, your music, your you know, as you get a bit older, we'll look after your health in our health clubs. We'll, you know, you can travel on our planes, go on our trains, and we haven't quite got to funeral parlors yet. But you know, but anyway, we'll try, you know, so if I see something's not being done well, you know, I love to dive in and I love to give it a go, and love a new challenge. So you know, so Virgin has become a way of life brand.
And what would be your favorite business then, out of 350, or used to be?
Look, I suspect the most exciting business that we have is our space project. You know, we are trying to be the first company to build a reusable spaceship and offer people trips into space. And I think we're nearly there now. We're maybe 11 months away from flying. We have a lot of Russians who've signed to go into space with us, but people from all over the world. And you know, I think it's the beginning of a whole new era. I mean, commercial spaceship travel can open up, you know, travel to the ordinary person, and you know, and I think one day it can lead on to hotels in space, and it can lead on to us you know, having populations on other planets, and you know, a very exciting future, I think.
And who will be the first, how do you call him, cosmonaut or astronaut? Or,
well, look, I mean,
yeah, how you define the person that flies?
Astronauts. Yeah,
Astronauts.
I mean, yeah, and if they're Russian, they can be cosmonauts, whatever. But no, I mean, I'm going up with my children, Holly and Sam, and hopefully with my parents, Eve and Ted. So we'll go up in the first spaceship. But we have nearly 500 people, you know, signed up, and the initial base is in New Mexico, and you know, maybe one day we'll set up a base in Russia. Who's to know?
Yeah, and just quickly, because the mostly Russian audience is going to see this program, and what do you think the major difference between Russian Cosmos program, this Russian space program right now, and your Virgin Galactic stuff? What would be the major difference?
Well, I think the biggest difference is that the Russian technology and the American technology is sort of 60 years old technology. It's very reliable now, but it is very old technology. So, you know, by commercial companies coming in, we'll have brand new technology, and you know, we can put people into space for a fraction of the price that it would cost in Russia. So now it costs, I think, $50 or $60 million to go up in a Russian spaceship. On a Virgin Galactic spaceship, it's $200,000. So you know, the price is a lot less.
Correct.
Richard, you are very popular in Russia now due to your books. And people, very many people want to know why did and do Virgin don't go to Russia to make a big business.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I suspect we should be in Russia by now. You know, good friends, Oleg and others, have told me that we should be bringing the Virgin brand to Russia. And you know, if we see an obvious opening, you know, where we think the Virgin brand will do well in Russia, we will. But we need good partners, and maybe from this TV show we'll get some good partners. Who's to know?
Maybe Oleg will be such a partner.
That would be wonderful.
Virgin money. By the way, I don't know, there was some story about you. Your very first experience with Soviet Union was with Virgin Atlantic, right? And I remember it didn't go so well. What was the story there? You don't remember?
No, we used to.
I think it didn't cover media.
We were flying to Japan.
With the stop few in Moscow, right?
And we stopped on the way because, you know, because Russia wanted to get some money for overflying rights, so they made us stop. But that was good. We picked up some passengers, but it wasn't really a proper business.
Okay, so it's not direct.
Flying.
Okay. Yeah, and what do you think you have missed yet in your life, or what do you think you did wrong? What you're feel sorry about in your life? Because our people, they always like to challenge me to ask the entrepreneurs the tricky question when they try to make a confession, and like they are not going to repeat the same kind of mistakes. So what were your mistakes, basically, the question is?
Well, look, I mean, you know, if you're an entrepreneur and you haven't made mistakes, you're not an entrepreneur. So a definition of an entrepreneur is to try things, sometimes to fall flat on the face, sometimes to succeed. And we've tried many things. I mean, we may have 350 companies, but I suspect we've tried 600 or 700 things, and some things have not worked out. We tried to take on Coca-Cola, and for about a year it looked like we were succeeding, and then they brought in the tanks and all their armies, and they basically squashed us. And
But you started with the tank first. You came on the tank and square.
We had
So you started the war.
we started the war, and they just had more. They had more artillery than us. And the reason we didn't succeed on that one was because our product was about the same as Coke. There wasn't anything exceptionally different. Whereas, say, when we took on British Airways with Virgin Atlantic, our product is much better than theirs, and therefore, although they sent the tanks in, people didn't desert us because they knew they got a better quality. So, I think the rule is make sure that you're much better than your competitors, and if you're much better, even although you may be smaller, you should be able to succeed.
And many questions we've got, because I asked on my Twitter that I'm going to interview you, and I think half of the question were about your Formula One project. Here's the business with Russians, like Virgin, Marussia. By the way, we call it Marusia in Russia because it's a female name, Marusia. So overseas, I guess it's Marussia, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about Virgin Marussia, and how did you involve into the Formula One from the very beginning, and how it's evolved into this Virgin Marussia, and what do you feel about this partnership with these Russian guys and stuff?
No, well, obviously, look, Russia's becoming interested in Formula One in a big way because you're going to have a circuit,
Sochi, yeah.
and that's going to make bring Formula One to Russia in a big way.
And we already have one pilot now in Renault. I think Vitaly Petrov.
That's right.
Is in Renault.
And so we sponsored a team that had financial problems. Jensen Button, Rubens Barrichello, and they won the Formula One, and we were very lucky. And then we decided the following year to start a new team, which is from scratch. And Marussia's come in as a partner with us.
Okay.
And they're going to be a good partner. I mean, they produce beautiful cars in Russia. They're building what could be a formidable car company in Russia. So they have a lot of expertise on the engineering side, and that will help Marussia Virgin Racing a lot. So it's great to have a Russian partner.
Yeah, and it's another exposure of the Virgin brand into the Russian market already.
Yeah,
so.
I mean that'll help. That'll certainly help. We can help Marussia overseas, and Marussia can help Virgin in Russia. So we over the years, we've done a lot of things to promote the Virgin brand. I mean, whether it's trying to be the first around the world in a balloon, or beating transatlantic sailing records. I mean, so these kind of sporting events, I think, do help put the brand on the map.
Okay. Oleg.
Richard, what do you think about the future of Russian economy?
I think the future of the Russian economy can be extremely good, as long as the Russian people and the companies can be absolutely sure that the rule of law is a proper rule of law, and that the governments run the country in an honest, straightforward way. If that's the case, then I think Russia has a fantastic future, so one just has to sort of push the leaders into behaving ethically, straightforwardly, and then I think
how we can push the leaders.
Well, I think that the internet is a very, very strong medium. Obviously, the press is a strong medium, but sometimes terrible things happen to journalists, who speak out, or investigative journalists in Russia. But anyway, I think through the internet, through the press, through business leaders, they've got to say, you know, we need a country where the rule of law is paramount, you know, where people can trust the rule of law, and then I think Russia can start to flourish.
Richard, when do you think was easier or in a way funnier to do the business? 70s, 80s, 90s, or now? If you can compare those times.
I think you know, there's nothing that beats building a company from scratch. The early days of starting a company is obviously very exciting. It's like, you know, giving birth to a child. I mean, it's a tremendously exciting time in a company. Having said that, I mean, it's, you know, it's very tough. You're fighting to survive, and you know, it may not be as enjoyable as one might imagine looking back on it. You know, but you know, I've fortunately found every decade enjoyable because I'm always reinventing ourselves. We're always learning new things all the time. We're always doing new things all the time, and you know, I mean, this, you know, right now, instead of starting companies to make money, we're starting companies to tackle some of the world's intractable problems, or seemingly intractable problems, and getting a lot of satisfaction from that.
Okay. Talking about internet, do you think there are still opportunities online on the internet, or you think with this Facebook and Google and Twitter it's over now? Do you think
I still think there are enormous opportunities on the internet, and I think countries like Russia and Great Britain have been very slow in you know, setting up teams of people to, you know, come up with ideas to launch internet businesses, and even to take on, you know, the giants in the world. So you know, it's the easiest way for people to set up businesses, and people should try, you know, keep trying, and some will be very successful.
Richard, please tell us what are the 3 greatest mistakes which you made in your business life?
with a smile?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I honestly just don't think about mistakes, but let me see if I can try. I mean, I just like to, if I make a mistake, I put it behind me and I just move forward. But
That's my approach,
you know, and you know, yes, I mean, there have been, you know, musical bands that I've missed trying to sign, like Dire Straits. You know, there have been companies that have fallen flat on their face, like Virgin Cola. You know, but you know, that's just part of you know, being an entrepreneur. You're going to have these things happening all the time. So I don't really see them as mistakes. They're just you know, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, you know, some things are not going to go right, some things are going to go right.
Yes, and your fans are asking to return Virgin Cola to the shops in Russia.
Good. Well, we'll keep trying. There.
One more question. People asking you, is it better to start with a little thing or to start with a big thing?
I think it's better to start with a small thing and build, because you can learn, you can learn from your mistakes that way, and if it doesn't work out, you know, it's not going to be an absolute catastrophe. So, you know, generally speaking, I would say start small and, you know, and build from there. And actually, if the company gets too big, don't let it get too big. Cut it in two, and, you know, set up 2 companies. And if they get too big, cut them in 2 and have 4 companies. So, you know, small is beautiful in business, and try not to create one massive empire. Keep lots of small units.
The question from me is, do you agree with the estimation of your fortune of Forbes magazine?
I don't know what Forbes says, but I think the sorry.
Key down there.
All right, we'll be 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. Well,
Bring him up there.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think that when people talk about sorry when people talk about somebody has a certain amount of wealth, it can be quite misleading, because wealth, if you use it properly, is there to create jobs, to tackle problems in the world, and I honestly don't think of the personal wealth I have. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm lucky to have it, and I will put it to good use in doing good things in the world with it. Fortunately, we have created some wealth, and that enables me to do new projects.
Richard, how people can find the woman of their life?
That's a good one. For the final.
They, if you're a man, no, it's what makes the world go round, and it's the most important decision of your life to find that special lady, and somebody who can be a great friend, and yeah, your greatest friend, and your greatest mother of your children. So important. I was lucky to find a great lady, Joan, and she's been a fantastic mother, and we're still great friends after 32 years.
One more question. What is the great? How do you motivate your employers? What are the great know-hows of Rичард Брэнсон?
I think the most important thing is look, the key to motivating people is to look for the best in people, to lavish praise on people, not to criticize people, and to treat people like you would a flower. So a flower needs watering, and then it will flourish. People need praise; they will flourish. And I think that if you run a company where you have a highly motivated group of people who believe in what they're doing, who are appreciated, then it can be very successful.
Okay. So, Richard, thank you very much, and thank you for your time. And guys, we've got to finish, because we have now to swim before the lunch with Richard around the island. It's quite a swim, so we have to be ready. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time, Richard.
Lovely. Okay, Kian. Thank you very much.
Здравствуйте, вы только что просмотрели, на мой взгляд, одну, опять же, из самых интересных передач нашего цикла с Олегом «Бизнес-секреты». Про Ричарда мне особенно приятно и особенно трудно говорить, потому что очень трудно резюмировать сейчас уже, потому что прошло 2 недели, 3 недели, а голова уже забилась бизнесом. Многие хотели послушать Ричарда, я думаю, что на самом деле интервью получилось достаточно короткое, с одной стороны, но с другой стороны очень познавательное. Он сказал, так сказать, что называется, самые основные вещи. Сок, он не стал растекаться по древу, и особенно, мне кажется, его заявления важны для начинающих предпринимателей, для людей, которые только хотят начать и становятся. Он очень впечатляющий. Он умеет воодушевлять и говорить правильные слова. Для тех, кто что-то не услышал вдруг в передаче и посчитает, что он ничего такого не сказал, я очень советую взять мышки, протянуть на начало и еще раз посмотреть эту передачу. Я считаю, что она на самом деле очень глубокая, хотя на первый взгляд она может таковой и не покажется. И, конечно же, учите английский язык, потому что перевод не всегда дает точный смысл этого слова. Спасибо за то, что смотрите нашу передачу. Мы вас любим, стараемся приглашать хороших гостей. Следующий гость будет всем известный вам Евгений Чичваркин. Вы его все ждете. Интервью с Евгением ровно через неделю. Здесь же. Спасибо за внимание. До свидания.
Ну что сказать, Ричард Брэнсон – это Ричард Брэнсон, и гостей такого калибра, конечно, во всем мире очень мало. И мы очень рады, что он нас посетил, точнее, мы его посетили на острове Некер. Если вы до сих пор не читали книги Ричарда Брэнсона, конечно же, возьмите в первую очередь книгу «Теряя невинность», «Losing My Virginity». И, наверное, в меньшей степени буду рекомендовать книгу «Обнаженный бизнес». Эта книга исключительно про бизнес и касается уже деталей операционной деятельности компании Ричарда Брэнсона. Если вы же хотите почитать про его жизнь, то это, конечно, книга «Теряя невинность». Поражает в Ричарде то, что он сочетает в себе амбициозность и такую бизнес-агрессию с позитивным отношением к миру и к людям. Вы видели, что он сказал по поводу сотрудников, которых надо мотивировать тем, что видеть в них самые хорошие черты. Мне кажется, это слова, которые многие российские предприниматели должны воспринять на свой счет. И мотивировать в России очень слабо умеют, на мой взгляд. И люди должны понять, что действительно все люди разные, и правильно видеть лучшие черты в своих сотрудниках и развивать эти черты, чем прессовать людей и добиваться от них того, чего они в принципе не могут сделать. Вот это, на мой взгляд, самый важный урок, который нам дал сегодня Ричард Брэнсон. Спасибо.